Hello, everybody. Welcome to Daily Robot.
The podcast.
Boom. And there we go. I'm one of your hosts, Elias.
And I'm Sandy.
And this is Daily Robot, the podcast. You can follow us at DailyRobotTV on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. We are the relatively new Daily Robot podcast show that talks about, actually, robotics, space stories, pop culture, anything
Whatever
else.
we feel like talking about.
Exactly.
Star Wars.
Star Wars. Yes.
Anything.
I like that. And today we have a whole bunch of stories. Last time we had Eric Larkin on.
That's right.
It was so much fun.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I want to have Eric back on.
Yeah.
And I miss Kaylee too. Kaylee.
That was a lot of fun too.
Yeah. So a lot of good things to come on this show. Today we're going to talk about, we're going to start off with not the greatest of stories.
Well, it's a great story. It's just not necessarily the happiest of stories.
Yes.
But, yes. So yesterday, Thursday, marked 35 years since the Space Shuttle Challenger disaster. It was also NASA's annual Day of Remembrance to honor astronauts who have lost their lives during missions. So for those of you who don't know, I am a teacher, a special ed teacher, actually. And so the Challenger mission in particular has kind of a special meaning to me since Krista McAuliffe was on that shuttle, and she was, of course, the first civilian invited to go into space, and she was a teacher, 37-year-old teacher, and she was among the 7 who perished in that crash. Fun fact, though, I actually lived in the same dorm at my college at Illinois State that Krista McAuliffe lived in when she studied to become a teacher as well. Not at the same time, obviously. But yeah, she and I lived in the same dorm when we studied to become teachers.
Wow. Yeah. I was pretty young when this happened.
Yeah.
And it was a shock to the system. I lived in Greece when it happened.
Yeah.
I'm originally from Greece, so for anybody who doesn't know, but it was shocking and very sad. I think the entire world cried.
Yeah, I still cry when I see the video of it. I was only 6 when it happened, so I just remember I didn't see it live. I saw it on the news later on in the day, and my parents kind of explained what happened. And I remember thinking I was in kindergarten at the time, and I thought, what if my kindergarten teacher was on there? I'd be so sad, just, even as a 6-year-old, I just knew how dynamic that whole experience was. And yeah, so NASA every year has an annual Day of Remembrance, and that's to honor all of the astronauts who have lost their lives in missions, including Apollo 1 and the Challenger, Columbia, of course, and honor all of them.
Yeah. And actually, I've visited. So this is a video recorded podcast for those of you that are listening. On the video, I'm showing the memorial located at the Arlington National Cemetery. I actually been there. I've seen this.
There's actually a small memorial to both the Challenger and the Columbia shuttles inside of the vehicle assembly building. I don't know if you remember that from when we saw it at NASA Social. There's sort of an outline memorial of each shuttle on the wall, and there are rooms up there that house some of the pieces of those shuttles, which we were obviously not allowed to go anywhere near those, but we did see the smaller memorials within the VAB while we were there.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to, of course, SpaceX, a topic near and dear to our hearts. And the last Starship.
SN9.
Yes, 9 flight was canceled, I guess. What happened?
Yeah, so they had a launch window that spanned most of yesterday. I think it was 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. And SN9 or Starship serial number 9 was supposed to do a 12.5 kilometer hop test tomorrow. And they're, I guess, just seeing Elon Musk's tweets all over Twitter. It looks like there was an FAA regulation issue. For once, it wasn't weather, wasn't mechanical, wasn't anything like that. It had to do with FAA. And so it was kind of funny, actually, when we found out in real time that that's what the issue was. The hashtag free Starship started showing up all over Twitter and everything else, like, let it go. So yeah, they ended up having to stand down, getting relatively close to the end of the window, actually. So that's going to be hopefully happening again soon. It's kind of cool right now, though. Elon tweeted, I guess it's already been tweeted before, but Elon tweeted a picture in about an hour or a couple hours ago today of both Starship 9 and 10 in the same photo. They're very close to each other. So that's exciting.
I don't think if anybody has noticed this, but they look like the rocket ships from Flash Gordon. The black and white series. Not kidding. I mean, they really look like those Flash Gordon ships. So, I mean, I had it in the background too. I couldn't watch it, but I had in the background on mute, I think streaming Everyday Astronaut. But there were a lot of great YouTube shows out there going live. They're doing a great job. And definitely kind of jealous. Wish I was out there.
I had a hard time choosing which channel to watch, actually. There were so many live streamers going on.
We're not associated with any of those shows, but, 2 thumbs up. Kudos to all those great shows that are broadcasting, going live on that.
So we'll see what happens next for that. SN9 is still up, and SN10's right behind it.
Yeah. And I noticed something else. I mean, they're moving fast. I mean, they're have some setbacks, right? But compared to SLS, right? Yeah. So they're making leaps and bounds. So continues. I wish SpaceX continues success there.
Yeah, absolutely. This was by no means a failure or anything. I mean, this was just a technical regulation issue. So still good to go.
So here's a fun story. Astrobotic Peregrine moonlander.
Yep.
So they tweeted out that with 7 countries and 17 different customers on board, our Peregrine lunar lander is on track to be the very first American lander to the moon since the Apollo missions. That's more than 50 years ago.
Yep.
Peregrine is said to land scientific instruments, items from the general public through the MoonBox program, and more to the moon in late 2021. And if you're wondering what the MoonBox program is, for those of you that don't,
pretty cool.
This is really cool. And of course, we're going to have all these links in the description. We have them when you download, or when you watch our videos on YouTube. We have them in the contents in the description below. Which, by the way, please click like and subscribe if you like the show. We also have the links in Anchor for our podcast, and so check it out there. But the MoonBox, what is it? So this is really cool. You can actually, and I guess the first phase of this is complete, but they're starting to the second phase. You can actually send some keepsakes up to the moon.
Yep, they're working in partnership with DHL.
Yeah. And
you can actually reserve a spot, a capsule, and you can send up, there's some examples, things like a wedding ring or, although I'm not sure why you would want to send your wedding ring because then you never see it again. But if that's what you want to send, you can. So the first round of capsules has already been reserved. The deadline for that was January 15th, but they're already taking reservations for the next set. So you may not be able to get it necessarily on the very next lander, but possibly the one after that. So that's actually pretty cool.
Oh, exciting. It puts a little personal touch to the mission. So when it does happen. So
yes, and Astrobotic is one of, I believe, 3 companies who are in competition to get the first lander back to the moon. Yeah. And Astrobotic is well on track.
SpaceX is the other, by the way.
Yeah.
So
Peregrine lander is surprisingly small. I saw a photo on the website where it's next to a
I think it's the
figurine of a
smallest of the
human.
3 now.
Yeah, it's very small, but the idea is to send scientific instruments and things up so that they are there and ready for astronauts when they get to the moon.
That's excellent. So, okay. Well, let's move on to something that that's near and dear to my heart.
Yes.
So my grandfather had a few, he was in the military and in Greece, and he was also military police, and he was a policeman later on. But most of his career after all that, he was a postman, a mailman, and I don't know why I'm talking about this. I mean, stamps were very big back then, right? And the postman, the mailman, knew everybody. It was a great career. And he handed off to me his stamp collection, which I still have. And I did that for a while. See, I'm a total geek, stamp collection. But for those of you that still collect stamps or are Star Wars fans, the post office is going to be releasing a new series of Star Wars
droids. Yes, Astrodroids.
Stamps.
Yes.
So we have those pictured here. I mean, there's IG-11, R2-D2, of course, my favorite, C-3PO, and some other favorites out here.
BB-8, that's my favorite.
BB-8 Chopper, for those of you that watch the animation.
Another fun fact, I dressed up like BB-8 for one of the Star Wars races I did in Disney World.
So those are going to come out soon. We don't have a date, but Star Wars droids such as C-3PO, the R2-D2 for the 50th anniversary of Lucasfilm. So look out for that. It's coming. I'm probably going to get a sheet.
Yeah, they are really cool looking.
Yeah.
I like them a lot.
And let's go back to talk about the SLS program. We talked, I think we kind of talked a little bit about the last green fire test that was halted early. And NASA decided they want to do another hot fire test. Now, this is a new series of hot fire tests of the SLS rockets. So this happened on the 28th. This was the first of a new series of hot fire tests for producing new RS-25 engines that will help power the SLS Space Launch System rocket on future deep space missions. The test of RS-25 developmental engine number 50528 on the A1 test stand at Stennis Space Center near St. Louis, Missouri, marks the beginning of a 7-test series designed to provide valuable data to Aerojet Rocketdyne, lead contractor for SLS engines. And it's remarkable how powerful those engines are. They're generating combined 1.6 million pounds of thrust at launch. And I have the video here of the actual test.
Yeah, I watched it yesterday. It was really spectacular.
It is spectacular. I mean, look at this thing. So for the first 4 missions of the SLS flights, they're going to be using these engines. These engines are upgraded, but they're still from the shuttle era. So these tests are designed to help them collect some good data so they can produce new engines in the future. So here it's going to go hot in just a second. I have it playing. There we go. Whew.
Yeah, that's some serious flame.
Yes.
And smoke.
So this engine was fired for a full duration of about 8.5 minutes. That's 500 seconds. The same amount of time the engines must fire to help send SLS to orbit. The engine was fired at 111% of its original space shuttle main engine design power, and the same power level needed to help launch SLS on its missions. So this is very encouraging to see. To me, that's a very positive sign that we're still on course with SLS.
Yeah, as far as I can tell, that was a flawless test. It went great.
Yep. So good stuff there. So let's since we're talking about launches and SLS, let's talk about the next countdown. We have the Artemis countdown, but let's talk about the next countdown. So what is this next countdown? What am I talking about? In 19 days, here, I'm going to change my screen here. Woohoo! We're looking forward to the Perseverance rover Mars landing.
Right.
So it's on its way to Mars, right? We should celebrate when that happens.
Definitely. That's going to be a really big deal. NASA's doing a lot of live newscasts and things like that. They did a Q&A thing a few days ago. They're going to be live the day of the landing. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on around this because this is big deal stuff.
It is. Yeah. So we're only 19 days away from the landing. Right now it's moving at a speed of 1.6 miles per second.
Yeah. Cruising speed.
Yes. Once at the top of the red planet's atmosphere, an action-packed 7 minutes of descent awaits for our rover, complete with temperatures equivalent to the surface of the sun, a supersonic parachute inflation, and the very first ever autonomous guided landing on Mars.
Yeah, that
says
is,
NASA.
Right. That's the part that really gets me. It's going to guide itself autonomously to the surface.
Yes.
Which has never happened before. I mean, there's a lot of groundbreaking stuff actually happening with Perseverance. So this is going to be very exciting stuff. And then the second it lands, it's going to start collecting and sending data immediately. Yeah. Just instantly, it's just really cool. I love that.
So with that, we have this. NASA is so busy right now. There's so much activity happening. And sometimes safety, even though we always say safety is number one, but we don't always see all the good work they're planning and doing regarding to safety. So today, in fact, they have NASA and Boeing staged a test, a rehearsal. Let's say a crew landing dress rehearsal at the U.S. Army's White Sands Space Harbor in New Mexico. This is in preparation for missions returning with astronauts from the International Space Station as part of the agency's commercial crew program, NASA reports. When astronauts land after the journey to the space station on Boeing's CST-100 Starliner aircraft, which will be launching this spring in a test, recovery teams must be able to remove the crew from the capsule quickly. In an unlikely event of a medical emergency, Boeing and NASA also partner with local trauma teams who are trained to provide the highest level of coordinated specialized care. So during this exercise, the team simulated a scenario in which a crew member needed to be transferred to the University of New Mexico in Albuquerque via the Air Center medical helicopter. So this is all good stuff. Again, it's mission forward here. Artemis or bust.
Yes.
Great to see.
You know, it's funny you talk about astronauts landing after being in space. And I was talking to one of the assistant principals that I work with the other day. And he, when he was in grad school, got to spend a day with an astronaut who was touring his campus. And he was telling me that he asked him, what was the hardest part about coming back to the surface after being up in space for so long. Yeah. And he said, gravity. Yeah. He said, well, what do you mean by that? Like it weighs you down? He said, no, like I took juice out of the fridge, let it go and expected it to stay there. And it went to the ground and crashed instead, things like that.
That's
so I
funny.
thought, gosh, that's so funny. I would have guessed gravity, but not in that context of like, you can't just let go of something and it stays in the air. You get used to that. And so you end up, I guess he crashed and dropped and broke a lot of things when he came back.
All right. So you had to try that special effects.
Yeah,
everything.
I like it.
It's like Transformers laughing or something. I don't know. So that's really funny.
Mm-hmm. But no, it's good. I mean, you know that they do all this testing at NASA and SpaceX and all these things that they want to be sure that everything's safe, and they do dry runs and rehearsals of everything. And you don't necessarily think about just the recovery at the landing needing a rehearsal. You think, they land and we go get them. Yeah. But yeah, there could be any number of things that go wrong. And somebody could be injured or something goes wrong with a parachute or, any number of things. So that is part of the rehearsal experience for them. They have to test and experiment with pretty much any contingency, I would think. As many as they can come up with.
Better be prepared.
Yeah.
And once again, I'm going to bring up SpaceX because obviously SpaceX is the most exciting topic these days with everything that's going on. So they just launched with Transporter 1.
Yes.
some Starlink satellites. And before that, they did a full cadre of 60 Starlink satellites just a few days before that. And sure, yet enough, if that wasn't enough, January 31st, according to the flight schedule, another Falcon 9 rocket is going to launch from Kennedy Space Center in Florida, bringing 60 satellites, 60 more Starlink satellites into orbit. And if that again, and then a few days later after that, if everything goes, if nothing changes with weather and different things, another Falcon 9 rocket, this time from SLC-40, and again, the Kennedy Space Center, from the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, Florida, it says here. Another 60 satellites, 60 Starlink satellites will be launched into orbit.
Yep.
And for those of you that don't know what Starlink is, so Elon Musk has had a great idea. He says, why not bring affordable internet to the entire planet?
Yep.
You know, this is something that connects us and make it affordable. So there's actually an open beta program for Starlink. And so far, early tests are going great. I hear some of the throughput speeds are better than what's available in the United States today.
Yeah.
So good job. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I think
that pretty much covers
wraps it up
for today.
Right. I hope you guys enjoyed today's show. We talked about so many great topics, space related, a little bit of robotics,
a little bit of Star Wars.
A little bit of Star Wars.
We
always
manage to throw some Star Wars.
I know. Even though I'm a Trekkie too, find a way to put that in there.
Me too.
But again, one of your hosts, Elias,
and I'm Sandy.
This is Daily Robot TV,
the podcast.
And you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. If you enjoy the show, please tell your friends and family. Yep. Click like, subscribe in any platform you follow us on. And we encourage you to send us your stories.
Yeah. Anything, NASA social experiences, your experience watching a launch, your space camp experience from when you were a kid. We would love to share your stories on the show.
And with that, until next time, see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.